Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Bunk'd Season 2, Episode 7, Camp Kiki Slasher. Now this is the first time ever on this show that they put up a sign talking about this episode might be a little bit too scary for kids and everything like that. I don't see how this was kind of like a lame, mediocre type episode, but I can understand once it gets towards the end and a certain something happens, then it's kind of like, okay, I can understand. That's why the warning label's for. But it was just kind of interesting because throughout the entire episode, it just wasn't scary in my opinion. So basically, it starts with the campers. They're in the little campfire place, and they're watching like a horror movie on the projector. And in order to power it up, Lou has to like ride on like a little exercise bike to like power it up, and she is exhausted. Now Hazel once again is not in this episode, which really sucks. I like Hazel, but this is back in the old like early days of the show when Tiffany and Jorge was there and Xander before they mysteriously just got written off the show for some bizarre reason. And so like, they're talking about like scary movies and all this other stuff, and like it's just kind of just like, I don't know, it's just kind of like almost like a lame episode where not much happens in the first half other than the campers just being there like normal selves and stuff, and like all of a sudden like Tiffany and Zuri, they're in like the oh no, so let's see, they was in the woods looking for campfire and stuff because something about meat and the Murphy man, the cook, he found like a bunch of meat on the side of the road and they started cooking it up, and then something happens where it gets spilt, and Gladys is all like, um help find more like camp wood fire and all this other stuff and this and that. So the kids are in the woods, and then all of a sudden we see like this person walking like near where the kids were walking, and all we see is like the shoes, and then we see the person with the mask, and then all of a sudden Zuri and like Tiffany get like grabbed, and then Jorge gets grabbed, and then they go missing. And so Lou's kind of freaking out because they like losing campers and stuff. And then one by one, like all the campers start disappearing. Well, by campers, I mean like the main cast. And I think Ravi is like the only one last to get like captured by this person. And then when he is captured, he's taken to like the barn. And there we see everybody just like all like normal looking, putting on makeup. And he's just kind of like, what's going on? And the person takes off the mask, and it's Timmy. Now, Timmy wasn't the person who was like poor, and he couldn't afford to like stay in camp. So he had to like sleep in the woods and everything because Gladys wouldn't let him stay in the camp. So he's been pissed at her this entire time and seeking his revenge. So he's pretending to be like a slasher killer person who's kidnapping the kids and gonna scare the pants off her. It's a bizarre episode. It's even so bizarre that Gladys goes in her room. Cause remember Gladys, she's in love with the Rosses like that, and she has two puppets that's supposed to look like him, and she pretends like they're in love with her and kissing her on the cheek. It's a weird episode. That's why I didn't understand the disclaimer at the beginning of the episode. So then, like, Timmy's gonna like get his revenge, like finally on Gladys, and so like at some point in time, like the oh, what is it? So like she finally sees like the slasher dude, and there's like multiple ones because like more kids, like there's at least three of them now. Xander's dressed as one, and somebody else is dressed like, oh, Lou is dressed like the other one. And then so like they're like chasing after like, Gladys, and she's freaked out screaming, and I don't understand why she's so freaked out and screaming for her. But she's just like freaked out and running, and then like so then when they at the camp, she sees first Zuri. Zuri has like a bunch of arrows through like her body and is hung. Then she's slowly talking to her before like she pretends to like pass out and die. Then somehow she makes her way out to like the barn, and then there's Emma. Emma's like tacked to like the door with a big old pitchfork through her chest and everything. Then we see Tiffany with a frisbee in her head. And every time before somebody pretends to die, they say something really so like, I meant to do this, but then this happened. And then so Robbie, he's the one who lured her to like the barn, and then he goes into like another room and comes back and he has a baseball in his head, and he's all like, I've always wanted to, I finally caught like a baseball, but it caught me. I'm just like, Lord, how did they get away with this on Disney Channel? And then also, how did they get away with what Gladys tells the chef about like she has his paycheck? And I'm just like, Lord, this is a Disney show. You can't say that. It's in the window and everything. So then finally, what's his face takes off like his mask and reveals to be her and talking about like how he wants his revenge, and she freaks out to the point where she just passes out. And when she passed out in like cow poop. But then back at the campsite, everybody's back to normal, and so when she sees them, she don't question it, but she's still scared of Timmy, and she's all like, well, you can come back to camp now, but when you do, I'm gonna follow you every second of the day. And he doesn't like that. He's all like, I'm going back to live in the woods. So he runs off screaming, and that's basically the episode. I'm just like, this is like, okay, I do like Bunk'd. It's no Jesse, but it's still good. But it's kind of like some of the jokes don't always land, some of the episodes don't always land. And this was like the first like Jesse Bunk like Halloweenish episode that I just didn't like, which is really sad because I normally like all of them and stuff. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.